Hey y'all, welcome to Adventures with Aggie, brought to you by Coco's Coffee House. Go check them out. They're on Bleecker Street in Greenwich Village. Today we're starting a new series where Adventures with Aggie is diving into the sport of freestyle, football or soccer, depending on where you're from, freestyle. So today we're starting the series with an interview with Dan Wood. He's the founder of the World Freestyle Football Association. He's going to give us some basics on what the organization does, how freestyle is scored and judged, and what's coming next for the WFFA. So please welcome Dan. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Good to be here.
Awesome. I'm so excited to feature your story and kick off this series on freestyle. But just to get started, can you kind of give me your background, who you are, and what you do?
Definitely. So, my name is Dan, as you know. I am from a little town named Yeovil in the southwest of England. I'm a father to an amazing little boy called Luca. I'm addicted a little bit to travel. And professionally, I position myself between the corporate and the community worlds in the football industry, which means lots of different things. So it's quite vague. But no, I've set up a number of companies over the last 15 years in different parts of football, working primarily with freestyle football at the core, which I'll tell you more about now. And I'm also a professor at the Football Business Academy, which is a master's program for the football industry based out of Switzerland.
Awesome. I love it. So let's jump in. Why freestyle? How did you get exposed to this? I know I'm not super familiar with freestyle, so I'd love to see how you built this passion around freestyle.
Great, right. So let's start at the beginning. First of all, what freestyle is, I guess, to set the scene for anyone who isn't familiar with it. So freestyle, I would categorize, or we categorize as the art and sport now of juggling with a soccer ball, using all parts of the body to either entertain audience and or compete against other people. Okay, so it's juggling a ball, you're being very creative with that ball. It's a mixture, it's a fusion of acrobatics and dance moves, and this confidence on a ball. It's a bit rebellious. It's about, standing out and being yourself and freedom and everything that kind of represents youth growing up. It's definitely a rebellious part of the football industry. Why freestyle? So for me, I knew from a very young age, first of all, that I was going to work for myself, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I was brought up in a household where my father was self-employed and kind of like the ideal of that lifestyle, I guess. That's how it started. Like everyone, I wanted to play professional sport at first, like everyone I know, I should say. So football, tennis, many different sports. But I knew as well by the age of 14, I wasn't going to be pro. And I was really interested in the brand and the product that I was wearing and the business. So that kind of sparked my interest. Fast forward to 2006, I was catching up with an old friend of mine who was the skills coach at Leeds United at the time, and Bradford City in the UK. And he'd had this philosophy around how you could fuse dancing and street moves with football, very Brazilian-esque, let's say, if you want to categorize it, to set a scene. So how do you fuse music and dance with football, but go to the doorstep of children where they're maybe not participating in the same way that we did as children? And very quickly, like honestly, within months, we had requests based on what we were doing with small-sided football, 3v3 street football, to kind of use the sport as a diversion, so to get children off the streets and into employment or into education. And that really, again, that sort of propelled me further to say there's so much more that could be done here. And again, back then, 2006, there was no structure to freestyle and street football. There was some events, there was some tournaments happening, but mainly brand activations. So I can name, the Nikes and the Adidases of this world that were doing various things. And I met the freestylers, and it was just very apparent to me that there was instantly this neutrality. There were boys, girls, ages up to, still to this day, there's 80-something-year-olds juggling a ball and along the Copacabana beach. as well as now 9-10-year-olds doing some amazing things with the ball. So this complete unbiased participation, and the fact that you're self-taught. So there's no coaches, just like people marvel at the Ronaldinhos and Cristiano Ronaldos of this world. Nobody taught them to do exactly what they do. There's got to be an element of self-teaching there. So freestyle is this real high, steep learning curve. And and I just thought, wow, these are amazing role models, street influenced. What if we could use this as a vehicle to deliver education and do much more? And it started as simple as that. And I had, again, I'm missing out lots in the middle here. There's a longer day of talking for another day. But I got together with the top athletes and said, what do you want to do? And listened to their voice and said, let's create a union. At the time, it was a movement. And in my mind, my brand experience, I was working for Adidas in Germany back in 2004. And I was like, there's a really powerful way of communicating through cultures, through languages, through sport. And so that was in my mind. And for the athletes, it was, we want a stage to be on. We want to be recognized. We don't want to be superstar celebrities, but we want to have something to work towards. So we got 26 countries together in the first instance. And it just inspired me to stay involved. I do a little bit now. I must admit, thanks to lockdown, I've actually been training a bit just to keep fit and get involved. But I'm quite proud as well to be kind of I am the only person in the organization for the sport that doesn't train every day. And so that allows me to focus on building the structure of the sport. So how do I summarize it? Untapped, great opportunity, amazing people, right time, right place. That's why.
That's perfect. I love it. I don't know where I saw it. I don't know if it was a website or maybe even your email. It says all you need is a ball. Is that what it says?
Exactly. Yeah. So that was again one of the first jump out things back before I registered the federation in 2011. It was more of a call to action at first. On the 1st of September, I decided, let's see how many people could juggle a ball on the same day all over the world and share their experiences through social. And I was just going through different ideas and call to actions, and clearly the one phrase that kept resonating was all you need is a ball, simple to translate into other languages as well. And so it stuck. So that's our slogan, if you like, as a sport.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome, because that's true for football as well, but I think even more so for freestyle. You don't need the pitch or you don't need the goal, there's just certain things that make it so inclusive and available to so many people, like what you were saying with the social impact part of freestyle and stuff like that.
Definitely. And I think sport has obviously so many amazing values of training, especially team sport, the friendships and the camaraderie and the personal skills you develop. But there's also a huge population who, as I said at the start, not necessarily rebel, but they don't want to form a team. They're quite nervous, or they were excluded maybe from opportunities, or bullied even in many examples. So these individuals in particular were they need an opportunity. And so all you need is a ball. And again, the last 12 months have been weird for everyone, but for us secretly, as I'll say more, there's more people doing it than ever, right? Because you can do it from your own backyard. So you don't need to wait for a teacher.
Right. I think there's a difference here between team sports and having a community around the sport. Because, and I think that's what a lot of this organization has done, is build that up even more so, because sure, it was happening, but now there's organization about the community, which is really cool, I think.
Absolutely. It's a family. It's what we promote. I was on a call today, and it's, to new countries that want to get into the network. And many people have this vision of sport being this politically minded, governed institute and authority. And the first thing we talked about was, what do you appreciate? What do you like? What do you enjoy? What can we do to help you? It was a family conversation. It wasn't a business one. And then, but as a result, we can welcome Uzbekistan to the network in the coming months. So
and I think also just the sport in itself, it looks so cool to watch. Even if you don't know what you're watching, I was going to move into the next part, kind of competitions and how things are scored, but
I don't know how that works, and I still want to watch it, right? Like, I'm gonna follow a freestyler on Instagram, or like I'm gonna stop in Washington Square Park down here near campus and watch, because it looks so cool. And like, once again, I have no idea. I probably could not do that myself if I tried super hard. I don't think it would work out very well, but it's still so fun to watch.
Brilliant. Well, it's lovely to hear, and you know, again, I completely understand, because I've been in your shoes, where you know, what amazes us is that every day, there's so many people seeing it for the first time, and they have that same effect. But also, you know, the more you see it, it's still mesmerizing to watch. New skills being created. But yeah, to answer kind of what that question was, I guess, first of all, it's about freedom. As I said already, you don't want to brand too much or restrict too much. But what we realized early on was we do need to create some sort of system in order for it to be a sport. If we want it to actually grow, and if we want more stages to crown champions, and to ultimately drive investment, which will then allow more kids to live from this as a sport, then there needs to be a little bit of a structure. So we picked out one of the formats. There's actually over 10 different formats of competitions, different challenges, different stamina exercises, and various skill competitions. But the most attractive one, I guess, is the battle. So we have a tiered system, first of all, from national to continental and then world open events, for which you obviously participate based on your geography. And the better you do, the more points you accumulate. How you proceed through those events again, there are variations, but the typical one is a 1-versus-1 battle. So, and I usually use the similarity to breakdance here, if anyone's seen breakdance competitions. So it's a 1-versus-1 battle, typically, knockout competition, where the judges, there's a live judging panel of either 3 or 5 experts. And they do have to be experts. That's another common misconception. I mean, we do have a celebrity judge for one finals that we do each year for media purposes more than anything. But yeah, it's a very, very technical sport. So you've got to know what you're watching. So the judges are looking for, in the space of 3 minutes, so you've got 3 minutes, every 30 seconds, the possession of the ball transfers. So essentially, me versus you, I would have 3 attempts of 30 seconds to outperform you. And the judges are looking for the difficulty of the trick. So number one is, that you've got to know the sport to know how physically difficult it is, and roughly speaking, you can judge that on the number of revolutions. So your foot going around the ball a certain number of times, but also the amount of training that goes into it. You know how long certain dance style takes to master and to look that good. You can't just pick that up overnight. So the judges appreciate that. All-round ability is the second category. So you can't just do things with your feet. You have to show that you can use your head, your back, your sit downs, using every part of the body. The third one is execution. So how perfect it is, basically, how articulate you can be with your execution. Fourth criteria is control. So everything's got to be, under control at all times, but also, looking at mistakes. I guess that's the easiest category. How many drops of the ball were made? That's obviously, it counts as a negative. And part of execution is also musicality, which is quite a key one. So how in sync with the music you are, that can also give you scores. And the fifth one, which I think is probably the most powerful one, is originality. So this is where we just want crazy, new, unbelievable styles and tricks to come to the stage. So if someone brings a new trick to the stage that obviously the opponent then can't respond to as well, it gives them a massive advantage in the battle.
Yeah, I think that's a really great explanation for people like me, right, who don't know what is going on during those kinds of competitions and stuff. Because I watch it, and like I said before, it looks cool, but I have no idea the technical training and things that go on behind it, and what these experts are looking for. I guess another kind of follow up to that is, how do you become a freestyle expert? Who are these people that are judging these competitions?
So right now, again, it's 10 years old as a sport per se. So it's community members. So everyone is a freestyler essentially. And we've got what we call the old generation, who are in their 40s now, who definitely have seen the transition, so they can appreciate it. But we've also got, you know, amazing judges, early 20s. So we're looking at, and again, I can't really call it employment yet because there's not enough consistency to be able to retain too many people through the year. But, you know, there's fees when the events come along, thanks to sponsors, that we can then pay these young athletes to critique what they're seeing on the stage. And yeah, so you have to train, you have to appreciate the difficulty, and you have to know the skills, and try not to be too biased. That's the tricky one, because obviously, you know, a judge from the US is tending to favour their comrades there. But yeah, it's all good fun, and there's a lot of subjectivity. I'm not going to lie, there's still a lot of subjectivity in it, but that's part of the fun of it as well.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned the transition with, I guess, the older experts and things. So I guess what kinds of transition is coming next? Like, what do you think is going to happen within freestyle in, say, the next 10 years?
Wow, lots. Where did I start with that? I think, well, first of all, we didn't really set out on a path to achieve certain milestones. To be very honest with you, it was a spontaneous gut feeling that felt right, and the community responded. But no, judging on what's happened and the interest that we've got and the status already of the athletes, I mean, you know, from looking at the last 10 years, so in 2011, there were, to our knowledge, only around 600 to 800 athletes who were training. Many people juggling all over the world, but globally, who call it freestyle and who actively, you know, try to better their skills and benchmark against others, around 800. Now, today, we're over 15,000, and those top ones are earning very, very good money. I mean, there's a point where you obviously face life realities and you have to choose study or work or family and all of this. So we do wonder what would have happened with many of the athletes. But yeah, the top ones, because of YouTube, because of, you know, social media status, they can earn money from creating content, and so it's not just about performing on a stage. That's where most of them tend to work towards, is becoming an influencer with their skills and their voice, which is incredibly empowering as well, I believe, and something we want to see more of. But going forward, I didn't answer your question. So yeah, so there's going to be more of that. So more influencers. We actually tested the sport. We were invited to push into the Olympic realm back in 2019 with the beach Olympics, the beach games in Africa. And that's something we want to push more on, because that would create, again, many more opportunities for more athletes to live from the sport and travel. So yeah, not necessarily saying the Olympics, but certainly there's, you know, non-traditional sports are growing in that realm as well. So we see us doing more there. And education, I think going back to the start, and my passion was how do we use this sport for change, and what we do need to do is publish more and work more alongside mental health and alongside health nutrition in general, to inspire more kids to get active and lead healthy lifestyles. Yeah,
definitely. I guess two kind of follow-ups to that. One thing, I feel like I associate freestyle with content creation. Like that's, you touched on this as well, but like with TikTok, you know, like things like that, where the point is short form video content. I feel like I always see freestyle on there, whether it's somebody that's super well known or not. I think that's so cool that there is kind of that immediate association, because like what you said, the whole influencer kind of lifestyle, I don't know what to call that, growth movement, something that's happening right now.
Yeah.
I associate that directly with freestyle. And maybe that's because it is cool to watch.
Yeah, and I think that's it. So if you look at the mother sport, actually there's another separation, I think, that you might see more coming forward, actually, is the, you know, football is football and no one is going to attack that. Football is the global sport. But there's often a massive assumption that freestyle football is part of that. And it frustrates the athletes. I can tell you, everyone gets, you know, sick of the same questions, and, you know, usually the cynical one saying, "Oh, what's the point? You can't do that in a game, so why are you juggling the ball?" You know, so to create that more separate appreciation for one another will happen in the future. I've lost my tack a little there, but yeah, basically that's my main point to note.
Yeah, sure. No, definitely. I think there's a different kind of inclusivity for both of these sports, right? Like for
Yeah.
one, I think all you need is a ball. And then yeah, with playing football, like the mother sport, as you said, like that's anybody can do it, right? If you have a ball, but there is another kind of, I guess, culture around that rather than the freestyle culture.
Yeah.
Which both
We
think you can figure out your way to get into them, right? But they're a little bit
definitely. That's triggered what I was going to say. So that's I think what we're seeing globally really is right now the fan is changing more than the player. Everyone still wants to play football, absolutely, but the fan especially is snacking on content. They're not watching 90 minutes per se, or they're watching things on multiple devices at the same time. So it's a sport for us that caters to that. It provides quick, fast entertainment, 3-minute bursts, 1-minute bursts of crazy tricks that you can share and laugh about and comment on, and that's where we fit in that circle for sure. But yeah, we won't. And then you look at sports like UFC and what happened in mixed martial arts, and how that is the same. Boxing, mixed martial arts had this kind of deteriorating fan. They needed to energize it with something, and that's where UFC sort of shot to their rise, and kind of, I guess, maybe that's what our calling is, to be the UFC for the football industry. Maybe that's the vision.
Yeah, it's coming. I see it. I like it. Okay, awesome. I guess a little bit of a transition here. I have to ask a COVID question, right? Like everybody's asking COVID questions right now. But I guess what's a trend that has happened in freestyle during COVID? Like I feel like there would be an influx of like content creation. I don't know, people picking it up maybe because they're bored. I can't say I didn't try at least twice during COVID to see what I could do with the ball. But yeah, I guess what have you seen during COVID?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of, as we've hinted throughout as well, it's been the perfect sport almost for this period, because again, from home, all you need is a ball. We reacted instant. Like we were very lucky. We have a very good partner in Red Bull that we've worked with for many, many years, and yes, we're affected because normally we're doing 80 plus events every year, live events with audiences from all corners of the world. But what we did was basically put all of them into one World Open online, so we could still enable competition to happen with great prize money for the top men and women across the planet. And we had thousands of entries from literally, I think 93 countries participated. And not as a direct trigger, but around that, you had all these viral challenges that you saw celebrities, juggling a toilet roll or whatever they were doing. They were trying to do juggling tricks with things around the house or using a ball in the house, which was fun to see for people. And it captures the imagination. And definitely for us, it's been that awakening to say, wow, we were spending so many years now building the professional side of the sport, when that whole element of play is what we stand for, and that freedom and play. So yeah, the creativity and the videos and more YouTube channels, more Instagram, TikTok channels, as you said, just more people having a go. It's fear of failure has stopped a lot of people in the past, but now it's opening up their minds a little.
Definitely. I don't know how many times we've said all you need's a ball, but I think that is what has happened during this last year. If you have it, you can try it. And I think also the whole individual aspect of this sport as well. Like you don't have to be there with your other eight teammates or something to practice this. It's an individualized thing. It can be a team thing if you want it, like community we were talking about before. But I think that's super cool that you can take it as far as you want it. Like I can try all I want with my toilet roll, like you were saying, but there are other people that can make a career out of this, which is so crazy. But
yeah, awesome. And then sorry, to give you 41 stat as well, maybe, if you like. So we had a huge intake in terms of the visibility. So we usually, thanks to Red Bull Media, we were able to track a lot of the interaction of the sport. So throughout the course of last year, around the event, just the event content, interacted with over 205 million people around the world. So for a sport that still nobody knows, we're getting some serious eyeballs, at least on the content. So there's a lot of work to do to educate that audience, but it's still fantastic numbers that will excite, I'm sure, more organizations in the future.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think the Red Bull Association automatically gives that kind of edginess that you were talking about earlier, the edgy, rebellious kind of part of the sport. That's really cool, though. I mean, 200, what'd you say, 205 million people?
205 million, yes, yeah.
And that's still nobody. That's so crazy. That's like,
yeah,
that's amazing.
there is this catch-22, actually, we'll point out there, you know, and I don't want to talk bad on public here, but yeah, Red Bull, phenomenal partner to work with, amazing. Yeah. The catch-22 is, you know, we're promoting healthy lifestyles. We want to be promoting this to kids as well, and there's limitations in the communication there, but ultimately we focus on the comms with the brand on a corporate level. So that's our way around. But yeah, it's all positive to get more people active.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. Okay, awesome. Just a couple more questions for you, but I kind of wanted to go a little bit deeper into the social development for sport part that we were talking about before. I guess this is more of a personal question, but what are some of your favorite initiatives that you've taken on to achieve this social development kind of community impact angle of freestyle?
Wow, yeah, it's a subject that drives me, to be honest, first of all. So this is where I want to spend way more time in the future. Based on what's happened so far, well, first of all, I think collective, the whole movement of the federation and the association now as it is, was not really considered as such before. To be honest, I never thought and stopped and thought about what we're actually doing. But the mentoring and the support for the young athletes that we've seen, with so many challenges, like more challenges that I'd like to stereotype now, to be honest, because it ticks, if you want, on a marketing level, it ticks every box, honestly, of who we're working with and how we're working with them. So we underestimated that. So the headline for me would be what we've achieved with the sport, with the WFFA. It's to nurture and to mentor and to help kids to realize their dreams, to travel, to earn money, to be appreciated for who they are, has been amazingly humbling. And then offshoots from that, so I've work a lot with what is now Common Goal, or Street Football World, which is the collection of amazing NGOs around the world using football for social change. We've helped them with fundraising efforts, from, again, freestylers juggling a ball across the London Marathon, for example, to raise money for the charity, and set challenges for audiences to participate in. We've done an amazing project with the BBC back in 2009, before I started the federation. That was a good one called Your Game, which was working with 18 to 25-year-olds and getting them into employment opportunities. And then more recently would be the Brentford Penguins Football Club. That's where, and it's not freestyle per se, because it's more conventional football playing. But what I wanted to do with my partner there, well, I should say he's a former professional player for Brentford and for Tottenham. And he used to work with lots of children with Down syndrome when he was playing professionally. And he just came to me one day and was like, I really wanted to set up a club for children with Down syndrome. And I had no prior experience whatsoever. So for me, it was like, cool, I'm interested. Tell me what you're thinking. And then it very quickly became this opportunity to make a real impact, because there was nothing, no specified training provision for these young people. And where there was, it was all grouped together with pan disability, or pan ability, sorry, I say. So there wasn't enough attention to detail, and Downs is a very particular, well, first of all, the scale of it, from how severe it's affecting you and the family. So we just wanted to do something that was a little bit different, and that's definitely what it is, and that's still running to this day. So that's probably my highlight, I'd say, coming out of everything I've done.
Yeah, just a couple things, right? You've done so many cool things.
I missed out on that. Avoided all the negatives.
I love it. I mean, the work with Brentford Penguins is awesome. It's so cool to follow from the US as well, even though I'm not super close. But it's so cool to see how the inclusivity, I think, is kind of the theme of our talk right now, and how it's like this sport should be available to everybody. And like, that's just even more so pushing that. But it's great to see the growth, and I hope that something like that happens here as well in the US. We'll see, but
definitely, it just takes energy. That's all. Anything, all of this is just the right people, as I said at the very start, right people, right time. And yeah, if you put your energy into that and believe what you're doing, then you'll make a difference.
Definitely. Awesome. That's a perfect lead into my last question for you. So what is one piece of advice you give to your younger self before you started all of these awesome things you've done?
Well, I'm going to reword it then. So it wouldn't be to my former self, because I'm one of those annoyingly positive people that doesn't have any regrets. So, no, genuinely, so probably it would be go, go, go. And the reason I say that is I started my first business when I was 24, nearly 25. And as I said, everything has followed on. There's been lots of triggers that have opened up new opportunities. I've gone through 2 bankruptcies. I've had multiple horrible partners. I've had aggressive takeover attempts. I've managed to travel to 74 countries somehow during all of this. And yeah, so everything for me is an opportunity. And I think if you have that, and I say that to my son now, is like, if you have that open mind and that empathy as well to understand other people and appreciate other people and their cultures and where they're coming from, then not only will you have a successful career, but you're going to have amazing experiences along the way. And for me, that's what everyone should be about. People take life way too seriously. They need to enjoy it more. So go, go, go is my advice.
I love that. I always say that's part of the reason why I moved to New York City, is because of the go, go, go that this city brings with it. And I love that. I think I have tried to put the go, go, go in myself rather than just living among the go, go, go. But
good for you.
Yeah, great advice. Awesome. Well, Dan, this was great. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me. And hope to connect with anyone in the future.
Thanks so much for coming on, Dan. Next, we have Imelda Gomez on Wednesday, so tune in to hear her story. She's top 4 freestyler in the United States, and she's going to tell us about how she started and why she started freestyling. So tune in on Wednesday morning.